Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created us and He put us on this earth, He did not tell us, go figure out what I want from you. Allah Azza wa Jal sent us messengers after messengers, books after books, and in our book, the final revelation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created jinkind and mankind for one reason only, and that reason is to worship Him. Now when we say the word ibadah, that does not mean you spend 24 hours in the masjid. No. Your work could be ibadah, your education could be ibadah, your treatment to your spouse is ibadah, your raising your children is ibadah, the way you do business is ibadah, the way you walk is ibadah, as we will see. And the word abd in the Quran, or the word abd in general, have two plurals. Ibad and abid. Ibad and abid are both plural of the word abd. In the Arabic language, there are some words that have two different plurals. Like for example, imra'a, plural is nisa and niswa. Nisa and niswa are plural of women. Okay? So here, abd has ibad and abid. Abid all over the Quran is mentioned with one statement, which is that Allah is not dhallam lil abid. All over the Quran, which is 5 times, the word abid is mentioned, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never oppress, never do injustice to His abid. Abid is all human beings, Muslim and non-Muslim. You have no choice not to be from the abid. Everybody is abd. Everybody. وَإِن كُلُّ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا آتِ الرَّحْمَنِ عَبْدًا. Everybody is going to come on the day of judgment. Everybody, Muslim or non-Muslim. So we are all in one way, we are all abid to Allah. In which way? For example, I did not choose my color, I did not choose my height, I did not choose my parents. I cannot say I'm not going to get sick. I cannot say I'm not going to die. I have no control. I am abd. I cannot even tell my heart the thing that the closest thing to me. I cannot tell any one of you, can you make your heart stop right now? 2 seconds only. Even though you own it, it's right there. You are abd. So this is under abid. Now in the abid, there are people who are called ibad. Now ibad is mentioned in the Quran in most of the places. Many people think, and I heard it many shuyukh saying, that ibad is always good and abid is not good. No, that's not true. Ibad is mentioned in the Quran many times in a praiseworthy manner. قُلْ يَا عِبَادِي, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَبَشِّرْ عِبَادِ إِنَّ عِبَادِي لَيْسَ لَكَ عَلَيْهِمْ سُلْطَانٌ. So it's mentioned in many places in a praiseworthy manner. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still, He said, يَا حَسْرَةً عَلَى الْعِبَادِ وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ وَلَوْ بَسَطَ اللَّهُ لِعِبَادِهِ الرِّزْقِ لَبَغَوْا فِي الْأَرْضِ. So it's mentioned in other places in another good way. So ibad is not all the time good, but most of the time in the Quran is mentioned in a praiseworthy manner. So this is all an introduction, because today, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to start a series every other day when it's my turn to talk. Who are the ibad of the Rahman? Allah, from all these ibad, Allah selected a group and associated them with His name, Ar-Rahman, and He described in the last page, or the last ayat of Surah Al-Furqan, who are these ibad that Allah chose, what are their characteristics for them to be honored by this name, Ibadur Rahman. So in the last ayat of Surah Al-Furqan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. And so on. Today we're going to take those 2 ayah. The first characteristic of Ibad al-Rahman, I beg you, Ya Allah, to make us all from Ibad al-Rahman. Now, when something is attached to the name of Allah Azza wa Jal, or when something is attached next to one of the names of Allah Azza wa Jal, it could be one of two things. Either attached to it because it belongs to Allah, or something separate from Allah Azza wa Jal. If it is attached to Allah, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like for example, Kalamullah, Yadullah, Aynullah, the words of Allah, the hand of Allah, the eye of Allah. This is something from the attributes of Allah. And when we say the hand of Allah, do not let cross your mind that it's one of our hands. And or when we mention any of the attributes of Allah, do not say hand of Allah and point to your hand. It is a hand, but how does it look like? No one on earth knows. It is an eye, but how does it look like? No one on earth knows. This is beyond this brain that we have in this earth. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from the people who see Him on the Day of Judgment. So this is if something belongs to Allah, that means it's one of the attributes of Allah. But if something is not part of Allah, that means it's an honor for that person or that thing mentioned attached to Allah. For example, when we say Ibad Arahman, this is an honor for this Ibad. When we say Baytullah, the house of Allah, it's an honor for this house. When we say, for example, what else? Give me another example. Something not attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibadullah, Baytullah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, for example, the hadith, Shahrullah al-Muharram. He said about the month of Muharram, Shahrullah, the month of Allah. So this is honor for that month.